Now this calculation procedure here is finding the disconnecting means rated in horsepower. Now we're sizing the disconnect for a feeder circuit. Now notice step one, we're calculating this disconnect. Now notice we're using the sections 440.12b, table 430.250, and table 430.251 is instructed in section 430.6A1 of the code. Now notice the FLA, the running current, in horsepower. 30 amps requires 15 horsepower. 25 horsepower, or 25 amps requires 10 horsepower, and 20 amps requires 7.5 horsepower. Now we total the FLA, we come up with 75 amp. We total the horsepower, and we come up with 32.5. Now based upon the lock rotor current and its horsepower rating, then we look at 200 amps is equal to 15 horse, the 160 is equal to 10 horse, and the 140 amp is equal to 10 horse. Totaling the LRA, we come up with 500 amps. Totaling the horsepower, we come up with 35. Now step two, we're selecting the disconnect based upon the outline requirements of 440.12b as in boy. So based upon the, say the 75 amp FLA, 32.5. The lock rotor amps horsepower, 500 amps, is 35 horse, so we select the 35 horse. So the solution, the disconnect shall be rated 35 horsepower and be capable of disconnecting 500 amps of lock rotor amps. Now note 1 just says this procedure is used to determine the size disconnect, even if the largest load is a motor and not a compressor. The disconnect shall be capable of disconnecting the FLA and the LRA of the air conditioning unit. And then note 2 just points out that the NEC, based upon the LRC, requires at least a 35 horsepower rated disconnect. And doing this, we comply with the rating and interrupting capacity of such disconnect in accordance with NEC 440.12b as in boy.